Oh. Oh. Router check. I went through my entire checklist. I hope that we're okay. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I just hit the go live button. As per, I'm shaking. I hope that everything goes well. I privated the other live. It was embarrassing. Just thought I wasn't going to private 2 lives in a row. Please just let me know if you can hear me. Please. I can see that Linda has joined. That's what I can see. But I can't. Why can't I pull up my chat now? In the meantime, here is Ciliano with his cookie in the jungle gym. So that worked out well today. There's that. I'm trying to get to the chat now. Anyway, hello, everybody. When I do find the chat, will you please let me know if you can hear me? I know we're back to this. The fact that you're here, I so appreciate it. Let me tell you, I'm a sucker for abuse to put myself through this every week. And everybody that comes and has faith in me and is here week in, week out in the hopes that the quality will improve one day, I want to say thank you so, so much. So, where are you? Okay, there's that. I just had to reload the app again. Why? So that I could get a chat loud and clear. Thank you, Linda. Oh, now I need to sit down. I need a break. So, no, just kidding. But I am going to sit down while I say hello to everybody because I've got goosebumps and it's not really cold weather. It's just the stress. It's like I wake up on a Saturday morning thinking, I've got to go live today. And then I'm thinking, oh, please, no more embarrassing moments, please. Anyway, right. So he's happy with his cookie. That worked well. Okay. Danya Tortelli. Orchid Ninja Danya-san. Hello. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. All the way from Bella Italia. Bruce San. Also, hola, corazón. ¿Cómo estás? Espero que tu sábado está una maravilla. ¿Desde cuándo tú has tenido o has tomado un café? Something like that. Anyway, Ciliano, yes, but it's X with a Y, just because we have different names in our family, and one of them actually has a Y in it, so we chose the Y. But Ciliano, yes, it worked out today. I almost ran out of time, and I thought, oh my word, he hasn't been outside, and well, it's just working out great. Even the food is up here. Mona, meine Mona, einen wunderschönen guten Nachmittag. Ich wünsche Ihnen, dass ein Tag bisher wunderschön ist. Oh my gosh, my heart, you guys. Last week, I was on the wrong router. I did another detail I had to check. I was on the router. I was automatically connected to the router by my desk because that is where the phone picked up on the router, connected to the Wi-Fi, and when I walked away, I didn't check. So I added that to my list of everything I need to take into consideration before going live. So I hope it doesn't jump on us. Baby, good morning. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Anyway, oof. Okay. He's not a slipper orchid, but the fact that he's doing so well, and we rarely get moments like this where he's behaving with his cookie and everything. Oh well, I guess we're here for the slippers. Estoy bien. Now I'm fine. Just have to reduce my heart rate. Okay, now the moment of truth comes when I move you a little bit further away. But we shouldn't really be getting any issues. Funny enough, I've got green bars still. Isn't that wonderful? Look at my table. It is chock-a-block full of things to do and things to look at. I was going to actually, if we have time and if people are interested, I was going to repot a slipper orchid today that I'm a little bit concerned about because it's been far too hot for her these past 2 weeks, even though she is in the inside in the orchid holding space for the winter. This is Gloria Naugle, and you can see the leaves. That's not rot, but they are, from the last 2 weeks, they've deteriorated. I've never gotten this slipper orchid to bloom. She had roots when I potted her up in this pot, was it a year ago? But they weren't long, so I thought maybe we can check on that. It's pretty simple and straightforward. But for the time being, we have some pretty blooms as well from my Wilhelmara. You dropped it. Well, go get it. I'm not picking it up for you. Okay, Wilhelmara from Fernanda Nascimento Orchids and Succulents over in Yonder, Portugal. And you know, I don't know if I did it or the birdies did it, but something happened to this spike. Can you see it? It's got a splint now because it was a bit kinked one morning, and it could have been me from moving orchids and getting the orchids back into the shelf. But I just saw it was down, and I thought, well, let's see if I got it in time, put on a splint, and the blooms are still opening. So that's great. Okie dokie. Now, slipper orchids, if you have any questions, please keep them coming. I've got you right here next to me. Fernanda Nascimento Orchids and Succulents. Hello, hello, hello. It is so good to see you. ¿Cómo estás, Latina favorita? I can tell you that I'm already mourning the summer. This is the last Saturday of August. Ugh. I try to live in the moment, but there's always that fear about what's coming. Got to be realistic about and just be real about it. The reality is ahead of us. Okay, this is chocolate mint. And I was wondering, while I talk about them, because this is kind of like an update grooming session, this chocolate mint, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to bloom the way it should. There's something in the fan down here. I hope so, because that will then tell me that this orchid blooms every second year. Got a bit of sunburn. That is my visual reminder that this orchid doesn't like a lot of light. She's got the fuzzy leaves. She's one of the very slow growers in my collection, next to the Gloria Naugle. She has this nice green, kind of off-white green bloom. She is somewhat fragrant as well, a little bit of a raspberry hint to her. I have two of those that are actually fragrant, which when I bought these orchids, I didn't even know that a fragrant one would exist. And I was very, very happily surprised that I got one that was fragrant by chance. So I got a fan growing here, which is great. That means a second lead is starting. For this slow grower, if it's every second year, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if this is orchid growing nirvana when you have slow growers that only then don't even bloom every year. On top of that, if you make a boo-boo like me and you put a Delinati where she would get a cold draft, so then she doesn't bloom. And here we are, we're going to wait for 2025. And remember that the spike did really well in 2023 in the location she was at. And I thought I would do better. And I moved her forward. And bingo, cold draft. And I lost the bud. So there were no Delinatii blooms for us in my collection this year. But I know that Fernanda had one. I think it bloomed for her. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe she can confirm. And oh, by the way, if you have a channel, please put your link into the chat so that if anybody would like to check you out. I know I don't have much reach with my streams. I hope to change that someday. But if you have a channel, it doesn't matter if you're into orchids or succulents, or if you're just into Are we back? 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 Oh my goodness. Just when you thought, oh my goodness, just when you thought nothing was going to go wrong. Ay, perdona, sorry, you saw the makeup brush. Okay, more goosebumps, happy days. Oh la la. You guys are amazing. I was about to cry. I was just keeping it together, but I was about to cry. I promise you. I was ready to, and I thought, no, my dad would say, plow through, plow through. Everybody has a free will here. If they want to put up with this nonsense, then they'll be here. But I was, you know, the knee-jerk reaction is to say, okay, forget it. I'm not good at this. I want to do this, but it's not fair on others. So that's a bit of a selfish approach in my book. But I heard my dad's voice saying, keep going, you know, troubleshoot, go back to the beginning, wait for things to kick in again, etc., etc. And I just thought, hold on, okay. You guys, if I ever pass out silently and everything isn't, you'll somebody call an ambulance. This is really not for the faint-hearted. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I owe you a big one, a lot. Anyway, my Dillanatii here. Yeah, we lost the bloom with a draft, etc. It doesn't need a repot. But what I wanted to show you is how, because I pot my slippers really low so that I don't have them rising out of the pot all the time and I have to keep addressing them. I just leave them alone. This has already started to rise, let's say a centimeter, half an inch for those with the US. And I still have several years left where this orchid can just stay in the pot. And all I do is fill the top with fresh akadama. So she's doing great. And at this point, we also see another new fan. So if I can keep it together for this one, maybe we'll get 2 blooms out of her in 2025, which will compensate for the lack of blooms in 2024. Okay, here we go. This is one of my favorites, actually. This is my Spicerianum. Love the blooms on this one. It's all geeky and googly-eyed, and there's a lot of characters and faces that you can see in that bloom. But what I'm appreciating about this one is the fact that this fan is like bolt upright, as is this one. And that normally is a sign when usually they're a little bit lower, even if they're newly grown fans, they sort of droop a little bit lower. But when they're bolt upright like this, it means that there's something in the stem that is keeping it bolt upright. And that is possibly the sign of blooms. And if we could get 2, that'd be great, because we managed that in 2023 with the Spicerianum. This one, I wipe the leaves off with water because they don't have the, you know, the fluff on the leaves. I don't wipe my mottled paths or anything, because if I put any water on them, whatever I wipe it with, microfiber, whatever it is, it leaves bits and pieces on it, and then when it dries, it doesn't actually look like I've done anything. Spicerianum is doing great. I'm really pleased with this orchid. One of my favorite little slipper orchids, also because she's not one of those that just sits there and you're like looking at it every 6 months. Not really, because I do put water and I flush them and everything, but I don't give them a proper once over, because what's there to look at? It looks like nothing's changed. This is my Iona. My stooges, I say, because they have a very interesting face. Even though she's got green leaves, she does have like a little bit of serrated texture on her leaves. So Iona has been up potted, and I was hoping to get 3 blooms out of her again, because she's also another one I really appreciate, because she's super vigorous and every fan really should bloom. But before I up potted her, she was going from 3 blooms to 2 to 2. And yeah, that's not the progress we want. We want if once we reach 3 blooms, the next stage would be 4, not going backwards. but I like her a lot. They bloom around, oh, my Spicerianum, if it blooms, we should have those little googly-eyed blooms in about October. And this one always comes through for us January, February, fun times. I like an orchid, especially these slippers that have multiple fans. It just makes it a little bit more pleasant to look at. Now, this is going to look really dirty because you're going to see it up close, but it is what it is. I do not dust my wonderful little peacock contraption. It was white when I put this Gratrixianum into the pot, because I got this one from Fernanda and it had one root on it and it was very floppy and bendy from the shipping. And well, look at it now. Look at all this gorgeous foliage, and I've been supporting the leaves with my little peacock fan here, my 4 coral decor. So I've been, putting the leaves in, and as I mentioned, I put water into the pot, but I don't really move them. So this leaf has grown without me paying attention, has a little bit of a kink in it, but I will release it properly once it's indoors, because if the wind picks up, the whole purpose is to get some strength into this orchid. Now, I fertilize mine when I remember. That's how little I fertilize mine. Let me just say, if I remember, whatever is left in my bucket, there will be 50 parts per million of XYZ, be it the fertilizer or the CalMag or the calcium nitrate. And even that I dilute down to about 25 parts per million. So I hardly fertilize my slipper orchids. I don't know how anybody else goes about dealing with their slipper orchids when it comes to fertilizing, but I have seen very quickly leaf tip burn. I'll show you just now a visual reminder, and she's a big one, and it is my visual reminder that she. So again, am I back? Am I back? Sound check, sound check. Look at what he's doing. Are we back? Yeah, please go ahead and do that, Sandy. Please email me. That is if I'm back. I can see on my other device, I'm sort of back, half back. La-di-da-di-da. I'm just waiting for the 15 seconds. I am back. Okay. Breathe. Just breathe. Look at what this clown is doing. Look at that. I have to do. That's why I can't have orchids right there. He chewed on one. And I thought, how can this? He's not a turtle. He's got a neck that has limitations. No, he got it one. So I have to be very careful there. Okay. So, yeah, anyway, so I have bigger slipper orchids. But I'm so hesitant now after burning the leaf tip of the one that I find could have taken like 100, 150 parts per million, that at the end of the day, my slipper orchids hardly get anything. So yeah, my Gloria Naugle, because we're going to address her, she actually right now has 50 parts per million of calcium and magnesium, because that is what was on the menu today for the orchids on the patio. I'm prepping everybody for the coming nasty months in the hopes that we can get them through and still have them in 2025. So this is the big one I was talking about. This is my Lindy Kupovitz, and she, oh, does she ever smell of raspberries? That was a lucky purchase, I tell you. I had no idea. One day I was walking around in the holding space, because she blooms around that time where it's either a shuffle or some of the orchids are outside, not all of them. And I was smelling raspberries. And I know my my Dendrobium anosmum is not doing that during that time of year, or for the time being, not ever. And I couldn't figure out where that beautiful candy raspberry smell came from. And it was her. I was so happy. So Lindy Kupovitz, make a mental note if you like. A vigorous orchid, because look at her. She is a faster growing one. She is not as, you know, stingy with fans and whatever. So I gave her 150 parts per million. And this was obviously years ago, because this is the leaf that is my visual reminder. And that's why I also, meanwhile, I've said many times why I don't cut tips off. But another thing is I need a visual reminder of a mistake I made, like the sunburnt leaf. That can stay and fall off whenever. I don't care if it takes 2 or 3 years to fall off, but this reminds me, don't do it. So if a vigorous orchid like this couldn't take 150 parts per million, then I am not messing around with the other ones either. But she is beautiful. And she is absolutely loving the leca and self-watering setup. Absolutely loving it. When we did the repot on this one, I believe it was 3 years ago. Let's have a little visual check with regards to height. She was very low in the pot, but you can see how the roots also start to encroach up. That means we could actually fill around with leca today. Let's have a look in the back. You see, boo-hoo, beautiful fan, no blooms. We could. You see where that stem is? Let me lift her up. You see that stem? You can see the base where there is no leaf. No bueno. So let's do that, because we have small leca. We have everything that we need here. I was not expecting to do this, but seeing as we are here, electronics and water don't mix, so you can go over there for a moment. I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, dear internet, don't do this. I'm showing something. I have to keep going once I start. Alrighty, so that is why I put them down so low. Because if they are growing roots the way they should, then the roots are so strong and sturdy in their own right. As the roots grow, they start to lift the orchid up. And while slipper orchids do not care one iota about repotting, no matter active root growth or not, which we rarely see, because many people say that slipper orchid roots should be grown in the dark. I disagree with that, but mine just happened to be in a pot that doesn't allow light through. It makes no difference. But I've seen slipper orchids in clear pots and they're doing great. So the fact that I just keep them nice and low is basically for convenience sake, and because I don't want to keep addressing orchids year in, year out. My cabalgata and verde is a classic example. Pain in the derriere orchid. Why address them every year? So that's it. After 2 years from that repot, we've just filled up with media, and she's got at least another 2, maybe 3 years in this pot. And then the next time we see her, if there's another root at the surface, we check where the fan is at. And that is all. When I flush these orchids, though, my flush is a soak. And it's a 3/4 soak of the mask. I do not raise the water level all the way to the top. I have stopped pouring water in through the top as well, because I lost like 3 or 4 slippers during the summer while they were living outside back in the day when I had the blooming alley established with the slipper orchids down where the Repiculus lalias were. And I thought everything is going to be fine. And I was flushing, happy days, blah, blah, blah. I lost them to rot during the summer. So since then, my flushing technique, just to be on the safe side, is fill the pot, let it sit for about maybe 5-10 minutes, depending what I'm doing with the next one, drain, and then fill the reservoir with plain RO water, usually just plain RO water, and a lot of it. She likes her water. Let's make sure she's got enough. Yes, she's got plenty, you see? So even it's trickling out, that is, the pot is actually settled on the water. I love this orchid. I just wish that she would bloom for us. And maybe she'll change her mind come 2025. I had no blooms from her this year. She's a bit of a mealybug magnet, though. I guess, with the fragrance. I don't really get any pests on my slipper orchids, but Having said that, this one had spider mites a couple of years ago. This is a no ID. This was the first slipper orchid I bought to see if they would work, if I would enjoy growing them. She was a rescue. I had no idea. She's one of those common hybrids. And to be honest with you, if I lose her, honestly, it wouldn't bother me because she's not one of those that are highly desirable. But what's going on with this one, of course, I'm not going to do anything to force losing her. Of course not. I'm taking care of her to the best of my ability. But when she got spider mites that one summer, I was like, yeah, I'm not that invested. Maybe I should just bag and bin you altogether. However, I wanted to see, because I'm very shocking in my dry climate, but I wanted to see if garlic alcohol would deal with spider mites as successfully as it does with thrips, etc. And it did. It was up, they were gone, absolutely gone. But I have to address this orchid in a video because there's a lot going on with her. I thought about doing it today, but I'm glad I haven't gotten hands-on into this yet because of the connection not being stable still. So I figured it's best for me to do this in a video where I can stop and explain properly, but you can see is leaning. They cut off or whatever, pot it up separately because I hope you can see the roots are right there. And then this side here as well, I've been digging around, and so have the birdies, into my snow moss, encouraged root growth at a stem that had no roots but was growing way too high. So I've tried to dig around. I don't really see anything. I see lots of nubbins, but I wonder, the birdies broke my string. They've been all busy in this pot, and they've been picking off the sphagnum moss for their purposes. Yes, I share everything with the birds. Anyway, so I think it's best to address this one in a video, but you see we have another root crawling across the surface right here. And we're going to just cover that as well in the meantime, even though I will be addressing this because I want to show the results as a follow-up with regards. Am I just mistaken, or do we actually have roots growing at that stem? The fan looks fine. Looks absolutely fine. Either it's attached to the well and there are no roots, or we actually have roots and I haven't been digging deep enough. Okay, before we move on to that Gloria Naugle and the roots, let me see. Are you messing around with me again? I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up? Da, da. Dun, 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 dun. Ciliano, it is so good that you are here because I can always come back here. Take a breather. Enjoy the fact that you're in the jungle, Jim. And just collect my mind and settle down and not say any cussy words that would not be appreciated. And I wouldn't be able to take back. I've been breaking up, huh? Okay. Anya Kurlev, hello, it's good to see you. Welcome. I have heard that fertilized slipper orchids between June and November is the reason for brown leaf tips. Yes, that is possible. Absolutely 100% possible. But before you jump to that conclusion or believe it to be true, I'm assuming you're in the northern hemisphere. You are mentioning months where it's the warmest. So during those months, slipper orchids can get leaf tip burn simply because of temperature and low humidity. So that is, for me, the main reason. Because if it is the fertilizer, you will get leaf tip burn no matter what time of year it is. I hope that makes sense. Whew. Thank you, Mona. Anja Köhle, or Kölle. Anja Kölle, double L. Sounds very German to me. Very, very German. Munich! Oh my goodness! Oh, sorry. I hope anybody with AirPods didn't just get a jump. Anja Köhle, this is great! From Munich, Servus. Oh, you make me homesick. Munich is where the mother's side of my family lives, and when I visit Germany, I call Bavaria and Munich my home. Although I studied in Hamburg, but I am, you're going to make me tear up. I love Munich so much, and anything south of Munich just, oh, it's amazing. Oh, Anya, I didn't see that earlier. Sorry. That's why I was saying if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I just have to scroll up. Thank you, everybody, so much for your patience. I don't know if I got cut off or while I was talking, Servus. This is great. This is so great. Sorry, back to slipper orchids. I'm going to leave you with Ciliano for a moment so I can clear the table and get my catch tray out, etc. And then we're just going to have a look at Gloria Naugle. And all the while, my heart is going 100 miles an hour. You know, it's like being a duck in water or a swan. You try to be all graceful. You see them all graceful at the surface of the lake, speaking of Chiemsee, Bodensee. And you see them all graceful, but they're paddling like crazy underneath. That is me at the moment. The nerves have not abated. And they won't abate if it keeps going like this. All right, let me move my makeup brush so that doesn't get wet. I don't like that getting wet. Designated makeup brush for the slipper orchids only. I don't share. Okay, and let's get Gloria Naugle, and let's get you. I'm gonna have a sip. Just 1 second, please. I'm so close to thinking that next week I'll be sitting at my desk. Okay, let's go and check out Gloria Naugle. And look who's there. Hello, you good boy. I don't even dare talk to him while I'm holding the tripod because he'll get mixed messages. Because when I'm dealing with a tripod, he is, yeah, no. Anyway, that was King. Ein Dackel ist im Haus. Wir haben einen Dackel. His name is King. Alrighty. And there are all my orchids that I protect from the direct sun. Even though the angle of the sun is lowering and the spaces by the hedge soon will not need to be shuffled, I can just leave them there. And I have, hopefully, weather permitting, a 2-month still window of opportunity because we still have some repots to do. It's getting close, it's getting close. Okay, fun part, let's go. Let's see if there has been any activity, improvement on the roots from this slowpoke Gloria Naugle. Yes, there has. I've got to be careful. I have resistance. Ooh. You see, that happened the last time as well. What is this? Is this root mealybugs? Well, we got somewhere. We got new roots, but they're back at the same. Nope, this one's still viable. Okay. So we have an older root that's viable. This one isn't. This one isn't. This one isn't. Same thing as with any other orchid. With the exception, if Joe watches this on replay, hi Joe. Slipper orchids do not have pneumatodes. New word, guys. Instead of freckles, we're going fancy on this channel. They are pneumatodes. No freckles on slipper orchids. They don't need them. This one is partially viable, so we'll leave it. But you see the roots, the last time I repotted her were like this. Okay. Now, I'm going to need some hydrogen peroxide, if you will just excuse me. I was not expecting this. Ha, la, 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 la. I very, very rarely use hydrogen peroxide with my orchids. Only if I get a new orchid in and I see snail damage and when I see this happening. So let's get the fans off. Okay, so I stand by what I said earlier. This is because of heat. This lady does not like the heat. And even though it would appear to be cooler inside than it was outside, no, 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 no. It's not, because I refuse to live with closed windows and doors for the sake of the orchids. I only get about 10 days in the year where I'm in my happy place temperature-wise. And if my orchids have to struggle, well, you know what? For the 10 days that I am in my happy place, they'll live. And if they don't, then unfortunately, it turns out our conditions weren't compatible and they're not going to change anytime soon. So I'm going to enjoy the heat. And remember, for next time, should I replace an orchid, whether this one and why did it fail? Should I do it? Shouldn't I? Is it feasible? So we still have the white spots. I don't know if this was mealybugs. Let me see if you guys have any feedback on what you saw. Fertilize year round. Interesting. Okay. I will do that, Sandy. I will check my emails. Thank you. Half Paradise. Okay. Fertilize year round. Any suggestions about quantities? Just a thought. I mean, you know, maybe I should just stick with 50 and give it a go. Or what kind of recommendations when it comes to quantity can you add to that if that's possible? I don't know that Puff's Paradise. It'll be a first. I might have to go and check out and do some learning. Like I said, I grow them, I care for them, but I'm very conservative with them. Alrighty. Now I'm not going to fuss too much more. And just rinse off the base a little bit. Woo! The mister is nice and warm. That water is nice and warm, even though it was in the shade. Okay, let's get you in a pot. A ver, get some water. And now I hope it doesn't rot out because while it's warm, it's not. Oh, this orchid shouldn't be outside. Not under these conditions. So, let's go. Let's get some lekker going. Oop. There we go. Let's get you nice and low. We're going to stick with our low principle. Get your roots in there. We increased our root count by 2. Well, I know this looks really low, doesn't it? But it's intentional. Especially with this one. I put her up too high the last time I did it. It looks like plastic. That is plastic from when I drilled the holes. What is floating around? These white little things. The last time when I repotted her, she had that as well. And the reason I thought it was gone was because the leca had no signs of the white spots at the surface. These white spots here, last time I repotted her, there was lots and lots and lots of them at the surface. So I knew there was an issue in the pot. But these were all submerged. So weird. Oh well. We've dealt with that for the time being. And now I'm going to drain her so as not to get water into the fan joints. ¿Qué pasa? Don't get mouthy with me. Give that to the Gloriosa lily tubers. And see if we can do a little bit of adjusting when it comes to more leca around the base. She is just, I mean, you know, she's not in my way. It's just, let me tell you something. When it comes to orchids that won't bloom for me, I prefer Honchoglossum kimberlianum as opposed to this one. Because at least with kimberlianum, I can see roots growing, lots of fans, lots of branching and everything going on. Yeah, not so much with Gloria Naugle. So, but, you know, she's small enough. She doesn't take up shelf space. Let's see what we got. Nada. As she was soaking in 50 parts per million of calcium and magnesium, and Path Paradise says to fertilize all year round, I'm going to put the same back and see what happens. Watch her get now leaf burn. Okie dokie. I'm going to clean up my mess and then see if there's any questions. And don't cry, Nina. Don't cry. Okay. But I want to show you something else that I also got from Fernanda. Because she's in bloom once again. And oh dear, we're going to have to do some makeup here. We're going to have to do some prettying up. Where did my rag go? Oh, where I needed it, behind me. Look at these. Potinada. Si Tzu. I'm learning Chinese. Si Tzu. Golden boy. Golden orange Chansi. That's it. Okay. Potinada. Chansi. That's how you say it. Chansi. Golden orange, golden boy. Yes, I'm learning Mandarin because I'm watching programs from that are produced in China. And I'm reading the subtitles. So I am seeing and hearing the words and how they are spelt, and I'm learning how to pronounce them properly. So, chance, yes, shava, that means okay, or let's go, or if you want to say all right, you can say how. Didn't expect that, did you? I love it. I love it. Your Majesty is Bisha. So if I don't know how to spell a word because it doesn't come across on the transcript properly, I go and want to be able to learn. And the good thing about watching programs like that is, as you start to understand the dialogue and the characters, you can pretty much predict, are they going to say how or something like kishamala, something like that, which means, what are you talking about? Anyway, still working on it. But I figured expand my horizons. It's all in good fun. I was introduced to these programs by someone, and it's just like, I can't believe it. I'm learning a language. I will never speak Mandarin fluently, but you know, it's a start. It's a start. At least I could say, ask somebody ni hao. I mean, what's your name? And add a little bit of Swahili to that. Oh, okay, so another time warp video. Well, let me just say, if I'm going to private another live stream, then so be it. I just want to appreciate and say thank you to everybody that's here and puts up with this week in, week out. One day, I mean, we had a good live stream. That seemed like eons ago. And then YouTube changed the app functionality. And then we had to experiment with that. One stream went really well the first week after they did the app update, but I think they didn't hit Europe yet. So, of course, we'll always be the last to get whatever. And then it all went just pear-shaped from there. Anyway, I'm learning, Sherry, son. I'm learning. It's just that sometimes I have to pause the screen, read the text, and then I play it back so that I can hear how they pronounce things. It's awesome. It's all about imperial China. So I never thought I would get into it, but it's great. There's a lot of fantasy, a lot of intrigue, you know, the drama of it all, let's just say. But it makes for great viewing, I would say. I'm learning at the same time. So, advice, please. You purchased your first Drachia, easy grower. What medium should you use? You live in Central, grow indoor with lights. I think it's in perlite right now. Only perlite. Okay. Huh, how big is it? Only perlite? That's interesting. I mean, I have an orchid that is in perlite only. She's a Brassavola. And that's a completely different root system. Interesting, Bibi. I have to ponder that question. My immediate response would be sphagnum moss. But I have to think about that before I give you the wrong advice. Let me know what size your orchid is. Is she a seedling or is it like near blooming size? 3-inch pot. That's not so bad. Oh, hang on a second. If I do this measurement thing with my fingers. Yeah, maybe she's a bit small. Okay. I would start to incorporate some sphagnum moss, but I would take some of the old perlite in and mix it in with the sphagnum, with the fresh sphagnum moss. Is she already in a net pot, baby? Or did she come in a closed pot? Because if it's closed, then whoever sold her a live moss on top. Yeah, you want to carry that over. So if you can take her out of the pot, start incorporating sphagnum moss, because as she grows, her needs are going to increase. Perlite is great, but it won't hold water as well as sphagnum moss would. But if you can carry the moss, it's a closed pot, so even the seller didn't believe she was blooming size. So what I would do in that instance is just take her out of the pot, shake out whatever perlite comes off. Do not disturb the surface of the pot because of that live moss, because they love it. They absolutely love that stuff. So, and then just put a little bit of a ball of sphagnum moss underneath, soak that in some CalMag, and then plop it into a bigger pot or basket if that is your choice. I would actually put her in a basket straight away, because if she is an easy grower, I don't know the parents, but the hybrid low-tax suggests that maybe they put 2 parents in there. There are spikes in a closed pot. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, get her into a night pot. Get her into a net pot straight away. Oh, how exciting. So she doesn't get that much bigger to be blooming size. That's great. And yeah, just do a gentle uppot. Don't mess with the root system at all. The little bit of, let's say if there are dead roots or whatever, it really doesn't matter. Just get her into the pot that you would prefer, and in such a way that your future spikes can grow down, through, and out. How exciting. You're very welcome. And keep her nicely watered. They love their water and their high humidity. Oh, to get a pot with already a live moss, that's a bonus. That's great. I feel as though there was something else I wanted to show for everybody that came to a stream, but of course, with all the shenanigans at the beginning, my mind is always a little bit discombobulated. But it's just something that's... King! That was King, it wasn't me. This is why I can't have the nonsense. Oh, Baloo is... Okay, you guys don't get to see Baloo often, but let's do this. There we go. There he is. This is tip. Okay. Baloo is so fed up with King, I can't tell you. King just won't let go. He won't, absolutely will not leave Baloo alone. It's too hot for Baloo, and King just chases around. Let me walk around. You know, it's gonna come to me when we stop the stream. There was something I wanted to show you. Huh. I mean, I know this wasn't big. She's pretty anyway. I got her from Dana. You remember an unboxing I did? A lady from Romania sent me her. This is the Prostechia radicans. Isn't she beautiful? I have an affinity for chartreuse, light green, green-white orchid blooms. Well, any blooms as such. I think they're so beautiful and they sparkle in the sun. And she's a busy orchid. Growing the next, now I've got double. I think we're going to go rectangular, peeps. I think my patio will be rectangular pots because all this round potting up nonsense of vigorous crawlers, yeah, I don't want to be doing that. Anyway, that's me and my music. They're good. Baloo is the one that talks the most. And King tries to stop Baloo from shouting and barking around. So King barks at him and tries to stop him because he knows he's not allowed to do that. And then it just turns out I've got two barking dogs, even though people think that I've got two obnoxious barking dogs. It's one that's trying to stop the other. But no, they're fine. King is very, very well behaved, I have to say. Baloo, not so much. He growls at me when I ask him to do something. Do, then I get pushback from him. He'll just. She is absolutely stunning and she is super, super vigorous. Prostechias are. Oh my goodness, you guys, I have a Prostechia project coming up that I've been putting off all season. Oh, it's going to be a mess. I was thinking of doing it as a live stream starting 2 p.m. my time and just plow through. And whoever comes and joins and watches the massacre, you know, city bus, hop on, hop off kind of thing. If I'm not going to do it as a live stream, I'm just going to record the whole thing and then one night just sit on a stream at my desk and talk to you guys while we watch the massacre. That could be an option. I don't know. It's my Prostechia garciana alba. She's a big mess, a vigorous big mess, but she needs some attention. Anyway, and I'm back. Okay, that's enough. Not you guys. I just saw my frame froze. You want to dance? Let's dance. I'm here. I'm still here. There we go. All righty. Do you want to give him a dance? Do you think? You want to go? Yeah. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, dance. 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 Good bird. Dance. Dance. Good bird. Yay. Dance. All right. Want to dance? Oh, yeah, you good bird. Okay. That twig's going to get it, huh? Yay. Let's go. I can't hear the music. You watch my finger. Oh, you got itchies. Oh, all this motion. There we go. And we There we go. Good bird. Good. I wish he would talk. But at least he hasn't picked up on the dogs barking. That would be terrible to have somebody that does the simulation of dogs barking. Got enough of that. All righty. I am going to call it. I think this was not as successful as I was hoping it to be, but let me just tell you something. I so appreciate that you were here and that you come back time and time again in the hopes that she's going to get it right. She's going to get it right. I appreciate you guys so much. And if there are no further questions, I am going to wish you a fabulous rest of your day. On the condition, though, please, that you stay safe. Take care, peeps. Thanks so much for being here. So much. I appreciate it. One day we'll get it right, and then we'll do cartwheels around the patio. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.